What's going on, guys? Black Scout Survival, Late Night Live. Hope you had a good weekend. And I've been reposting, I want to share this. I've been reposting our Be Your Own Bodyguard series that we did a few years ago. It'll be reposting. There's 10 episodes. It'll be going all through today and tomorrow. So make sure you catch those. This is free content. So basically to teach you how and train you how to be a hard target in a most likely real world scenario you may experience, right? This isn't like zombie apocalypse stuff. This is like real world stuff that you may encounter, especially with today's climate. And I thought it'd be good as a good series we did years ago. And, it is a good refresher. So if you guys see it, check it out, comment on there. Let me know that you have watched it. Okay. I definitely recommend with the climate you watch them. The other day I reposted a video Friday night. Jay, my cameraman partner, we went out, celebrated, had some steaks for my birthday, and literally got stuck in traffic. And I asked the cop what was going on, and he was like, Kamala's coming through here. I like said some things, but I guess he seemed to be a Kamala fan. He seemed to be upset from what I'd said, but anyway, it didn't put too much of a damper on the night. I had to wait anywhere for her. You know what I mean? But anyhow, we had a good steak, so it wasn't too bad. But anyhow, getting into tonight's video, man, a lot of stuff has happened this weekend, and obviously since Congress is trying to make you a soft target, watch those Be Your Own Bodyguard videos to be a hard target, because a bipartisan group of senators basically unveiled an agreement on principal gun safety legislation today. This announcement includes the support of 10 Republican senators, rhinos, and you shouldn't vote for them again, which would give the proposal enough to support to overcome the Senate filibuster. But apparently they're afraid of maintaining them on board through the legislative process, which will be the next congressional recess in 2 weeks. So I guess they're afraid to try to keep them on board. NRA saying they're going to go fighting on it. We'll see. They don't fight on much. They give in a lot. But the Democrats have an ambitious goal: draft the bill and keep Republicans on board until the next recess, which is 2 weeks. So let's talk about what's included in this bill. The big one, red flag laws. Lindsey Graham is in support of red flag laws. He actually pushed Donald Trump on that. The Navy SEAL from Texas, he's Dan Crenshaw. He is a supporter of red flag laws as well. Got to be careful of these rhinos. So this is obviously one of the most significant pieces of the framework, and it's helping states create and implement red flag laws aimed at keeping guns out of the hands of those who would pose a threat to themselves or others. Let's talk about why red flag laws don't work. The Constitution, first off, mandates that no one shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Okay. Deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Seizing the property of individuals who have been convicted of no crime violates this provision. This backward process would imply that the Second Amendment is a privilege and not a right. And that's how they're making it. They're making it seem like the Second Amendment is a privilege and not a right, as the Constitution plainly states it is. The right to bear arms shall not be infringed. Depriving individuals of a clearly established, constitutionally guaranteed right in the absence of criminal charges or trial is an attack on civil liberties. Red flag laws essentially form a pre-crime, similar to the movie Minority Report. You guys remember that, Tom Cruise, where they go arrest people for the crime? That's essentially what it is, right? Fiction to facts. So if you think that is far-fetched, consider that the president recently called upon social media companies to collaborate with the Department of Justice to catch red flags using algorithmic technology. So Biden's called for that, called for social media. So I guess my biggest question is where will the red flag law line be drawn? Will it be that if I post something online, on social media, say something over the phone jokingly, They ask an ex-girlfriend, a crazy ex-girlfriend or ex-wife, etc. What will be the line where, and who determines this? What who is in the position to determine whether you or I may fit their red flag law? So it could be very subjective. And if you're under Biden's administration, obviously about anything, and we're kind of getting that kind of stuff later, but we are begging for them to abuse power and with these kind of laws, right? The next thing is mental health and telehealth investments. So more money, more taxpayers' dollars. The proposal includes major investments to increase access to mental health and suicide prevention programs and other support services available in the community, including crisis and trauma intervention and recovery. We know that will go down the drain. It will be just somewhere somebody's getting paid that hates their job to talk to you. Look how many veterans commit suicide every day and no one cares. These people put their lives on the line and no one cares. They've lost limbs. No one cares. Administration don't care. Government don't care. VA don't care. Go try to get an appointment with the VA and see how easy that is, right? The next thing is closing the so-called boyfriend loophole. Senators said that legislation will address the so-called boyfriend loophole, which deals with whether unmarried partners could keep guns if they were found guilty of violence against a dating partner. So currently, only a person who has been married to, live with, or had a child with a partner, they've been convicted of abusing or blocked from having a gun. Closing the loophole would mean that anyone who was deemed to have been in a serious dating relationship and convicted of domestic violence would no longer be eligible to own a gun. This is basically extending the previous laws, which was the most detrimental law, the Brady Act, to Second Amendment. The Brady Act is the most damaging law to the Second Amendment, and why we did not go storming. I was a little kid when it happened, but why Americans did not go storming into Washington for this is beyond me, right? I was a little kid, so I really didn't even know what this stuff was. But people, if you're of age, you should have been storming the White House for this, right? This is unbelievable they let this go through. And this is basically pushing that Brady Act. This is making something you may have had some kind of altercation with, not even physical, that you lose your gun ownership forever, right? This is not a felon. It's not a felon. These are misdemeanors. The next thing is enhanced review process for buyers under 21. The other major change in legislation is looking at ages 18 to 21 who go to buy something like an AR-15 under a background check review, the NICS, which is the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. If you ever go buy a firearm, they call up a number. This would have to also, after you call NICS, they would have to contact the state and local law enforcement to search for any disqualifying mental health or juvenile records, according to Democratic Aid. So now what you have is you have something that you may have done. You may have went and go spray painted something when you were 14 years old. And now this is, you may have taken some candy out of a store at 12 years old. Now this is going to come back to haunt you and you can't get a firearm, but you can go serve in the military. This will not impede you from serving military to go put your life on the line for bureaucrats and oil money, but you can't go buy a firearm to defend yourself, right? So NICS would have to call the appropriate agency that adjudicates mental health records in each state. NICS would have up to 3 days to conduct this search, but I guess it could be extended to another 7, making a total of 10 days. So basically they're giving a 10-day buffer when you go try to buy a firearm, right? So the next thing is clarifying the definition of federally licensed firearm dealer. Now this is a big one. This language for this provision is still being debated, but it would require more firearm sellers who are proven to be engaged in the business of selling firearms to be put on notice that they need to register to become an FFL dealer. It's significant because it means that dealers have to conduct background checks under federal law. JJ Garrett, thanks, buddy. Appreciate the sticker, man. So what that does is all different pieces and parts that may not even be a firearm you have to get background check to purchase, right? This is going to be ways that they can knock out components that the pre-assault or the old assault weapons ban was. They can start labeling these certain components as a firearm. the quote unquote ghost gun, so lowers, things like that, uppers, whatever, changing components out, you're going to have to be an FFL. So you can't buy pieces probably anymore, is what I'm going to assume. And that's why they're probably still in debate, right? One thing they're talking about is school security resources in this bill too, which, hey, I'm for that. This was addressed an area Republicans have focused on in recent weeks. School security. They said that they would propose to help institute safety measures in and around primary and secondary schools while also supporting school violence prevention efforts and training school employees and students. I would make that easy. Just put somebody in there trained with a firearm, or let teachers carry these sort of things. That's what I would do. Laura Roberts, thanks for that sticker. I appreciate you. So yeah, that's what you could do, right? So now let's talk about Patriot Front. Okay, I know it like popped up on the news big time. Some Patriot Front. This has been a kind of a group you don't really hear much about. You don't know much about them. They show up at places with flags and do a march. To me, it's just kind of corny, but it is what it is. Let's talk about them. So I've got some footage and stuff. So this is these guys here. They look like federal agents. They, I mean, they look like the FBI Fed boys, glowies on the weekend, right? This is how they dress, right? Straight out of Quantico. So 31 of these guys, Patriot Front members, were arrested with riot gear, quote unquote riot gear, after a tipster reported seeing people loading up in a U-Haul like a little army at a hotel parking lot in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I believe that's how it is, during a Pride event. So they went to go protest a Pride event in Idaho. And right now you can't do that. You can't go against the Pride, right? Eric Helton, thanks, buddy. I appreciate you, man. So yeah, you can't do that kind of stuff right now. But anyhow, let's show some clips. I got some clips for you, real quick.
Moving truck, and when they opened up the back, they found dozens of men inside, all wearing the same clothes. Coeur d'Alene Police Chief Lee White says the group appears to be associated with a white nationalist hate group. In all, 31 people were arrested and charged with conspiracy to riot. Police say the group had shields.
I mean, if these guys are like federal agents, I don't know what to tell you.
It is clear to us, based on the gear that the individuals had with them, the stuff they had in the possession and in the U-Haul with them, along with paperwork that was seized from them, that they came to riot downtown.
Police say the men are from all over the country. At least 2 are from Idaho and Washington. Police say there was a lot of planning and preparation involved to keep today's event safe and relatively uneventful. Organizers tell us this is the largest Pride event North Idaho has.
Those guys are going like hell, I tell you. So they call them a white nationalist group. Little's really known about them online. They, like I said, they popped up here and there over the past 3 years. And all I've really seen them ever do is march with American flags. And they'll have like riot gear, like shin pads, shields and things. That's just literally to protect them from other people, right? Literally, they're the most peaceful protesters I've ever seen, truthfully. I wish, that BLM had been that peaceful. Why weren't they making arrests when Antifa was burning down buildings and flipping over cop cars? They're actually rioting. Do you remember this?
That have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin over the course of the night. A second night since Jacob Blake was seen shot in the back 7 times.
Fiery but mostly peaceful protests. They look like a war zone, right? The Democrats are out of control. I mean, this is like a literal war zone. So this is when the arrest is happening. They find them in the U-Haul. Got SWAT out there. Like, I wish they had this kind of arresting going on when BLM and Antifa was destroying America, But like all I've ever seen these guys do are like flash mob style demonstrations. The sheriff's office said that the men were from all across the country, including Michigan, Texas, Alabama, Colorado, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, South Dakota, Washington, Oregon, Illinois, and Arkansas. One man had lived in Missouri, they said, but they've all been charged with conspiracy to riot. So how do they know they just weren't going there to peaceful protest, right? And apparently one of the guys was the actual founder of the group that was arrested. So I'm sure more will pop up about these guys now. You know, they'll be questioning them. Shannon says feds are sure. Yeah, I mean, these people are glowing, right? Yeah, so the leader of the group is a 24-year-old man. You know, so I went and digging, finding some stuff, and I found some leaked audio and and some chat room messaging. There had been some racist dialogue with what they were saying, right? So, but my question now is this group FBI agents? You know, they look like FBI agents. Let me show you this other one where they're being arrested at. Make sure I don't show you the same one. Is this
moving truck, and when they opened up the back, they found
I mean,
dozens
these guys
of men
are
inside,
look
all
like
wearing
FBI
the
agents,
same
right?
clothes.
I mean,
Coeur
look
d'Alene
at them.
Police
Look at the
Chief
guys'
Lee White
haircuts.
says the group appears
They're
to be
wearing
associated with
Fed
a white
khakis.
nationalist
I mean,
hate
tactical
group,
khakis.
and all 31 people were
I mean,
arrested and
look at his
charged with
haircuts. These looks
conspiracy
like
to
federal.
riot.
I mean, they're like federal agents. You know, look at these haircuts. You know, but like I said, from what I saw, apparently they do post racist stuff online. But yeah, obviously the FBI would definitely do something like that, wouldn't they? You know, to try to stir something up. Yeah, look at their belts. Like this one guy said, look at their belts. The biggest thing is you notice how none of them are look like fat beer drinking rednecks, you know, who hate masks. These guys are wearing masks. You know, they're all wearing, you know, casual Friday Quantico Fed Boy uniforms, right? It's it's hilarious, you know, but it's like it was organized by the feds who produced the High School Musical, right? It's crazy. I mean, these guys literally. Let me show you some more pictures of them. So this is what they do. They go stand with these banners, like literally the most peaceful guys ever, you know. So here are their faces. Here, this is the 31 that was arrested. You know, I mean, literally. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. I mean, to me, man, that looks like a Fed Boy operation. It really does. Like I can't even take this serious. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. Somebody, I think it's wrong to assume right-wing groups are feds without direct evidence. They were probably heavily infiltrated. No, they probably are infiltrated. They probably are, right? That's probably the deal. The feds infiltrate. They probably weren't federal agents, but the feds infiltrate them and say, "Hey, wear this unit, wear these clothes, and we're going to do this stuff. We're going to post this stuff online, right?" It's wild. So anyhow, guys, the USDA, the most useless organization that taxpayer funds, has basically cut out withhold funding for food from schools who do not allow boys and girls who identify as transgender into the private spaces of the opposite sex, so i.e. bathrooms. So if you identify as trans and you can't go into the girls, if you identify as female and can't go in the female bathroom, they're going to withhold the food funding. And this is the USDA Foods and Nutrition Service Administrators for the school lunch program, the National School Lunch Program, which feeds millions of low-income children each year. And that is crazy. Like the Biden administration is the most divisive administration I've ever seen. They called Trump divisive, right? But literally, the most divisive. And kind of with that, would a devout atheist send their child to be educated and discipled by a Christian school for 7 hours each day? Then why would a Christian parent send their school to be educated and discipled by state schools that are perpetuated by wicked anti-Christian worldviews? Education isn't neutral, guys, right? So again, like this mainly peaceful protest, back to the Patriot Front real quick. Mainly peaceful protest. We've seen that. We heard that verbiage. I'm going to play a clip. Literally, they went and arrested these guys that were going there to go do whatever with a flag, whatever their cause is. It's kind of like with INFAC. You know, they went and got permits. It would go peacefully march. Now, had been times where they would interact with the crowd, but most of the time they were peaceful. And that's one thing, like, I don't have a problem if you're a peaceful protest, even if I don't believe in your beliefs. But however, the Biden administration will allow you to go to Kavanaugh's house, to let you go to the other justice's house because of the anti-abortion stuff. They'll let you go into police stations, basically burn them up and all this stuff, and say, well, because people were mad, right? Let me show you these clips real quick.
It is not generally. I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly.
That ain't a riot, what we're seeing right now in Minneapolis.
They are strictly principled anti-fascists, and they've taken a principled stand to stand against white supremacists and white nationalists wherever they may show up.
I argue to you tonight, all punches are not equal morally.
It says it right in the name, Antifa, anti-fascism, which is what they were there fighting. Listen, there's, no organization is perfect. There was some violence.
Any reasonable person would say we shouldn't be destroying other people's property, but these are not reasonable times.
But thank goodness for the looters, man.
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
I don't care that much about statues.
Shouldn't that be done by a commission or the city council, not a mob in the middle of the night throwing it into the harbor?
People will do what they do.
You're seeing behind me is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Do not get it twisted and think that, oh, this is something that has never happened before, and then this is so terrible, and where are we, and these savages and all of that. This is how this country was started.
People get mad and people get sick of it. People are risking COVID to explain to this country that we're fed up.
Most of the major movements in American history have started at the grassroots level and at some point have turned into direct conflict with American government. So remember your history before you judge your.
People do what they do, Nancy Pelosi says. Literally, cities were on fire. But it's okay as long as it's for the Democrat cause, right? Teresa, thanks. Sam, more false flags between now and November 3rd. Absolutely. I'm sure there will be. I'm sure that's what they're setting these guys up to be, right? John Cofield, definitely a Fed operation. Yep, absolutely. They said white supremacy is the number one threat to America. I would argue with statistics on that. Jessa, thanks for the sticker, man. Jesse Judah, thanks, man. Yep. But literally, we saw the mostly peaceful protests look like war zones out there. But that was okay because people were mad. Well, yeah, a lot of us are mad. A lot of us are mad now. But and then it's just crazy. Someone just said about the statues. People would do it. Yeah, I don't care about the statues. People would do what they do. That's what she said. This administration is wild. And literally, I don't see it getting any better, guys. I only see it getting worse. Even if we do get a Republican president next, I don't think it's going to get any better. It's only going to get worse. I don't see things going back. Like, things are only going to get worse. Zark, thanks, says, look at the Patriot Front website. They do have some white supremacist sounding rhetoric on there. No, I do believe it because what I saw, right? I did see some. For whenever they had some, I guess, leak audio that they record their meetings, and then some chat room stuff, So I think they definitely are. But like the worst they do is go hold flags somewhere, right? So I mean, it's one of those things. Like, they're not burning up buildings, right? Why don't they put the effort they do into finding guys like this to go actually find guys who are destroying things, who are out there at Kavanaugh's house and, trying to kill him. The thing is, Jen Psaki said that it was, people are upset and she don't really care. That no, the White House doesn't have, they really can't stop where people protest. That's what she said. They can't stop where people protest. So she was saying essentially in front of these people's house, right? But it's okay for them to be criminal as long as it's pushing their agenda and their message. See, I just want you to see the hypocrisy with that. But I don't see it getting any better, guys. I don't. Like, dude that commented, "Oh, the Pen of Shame" the other day, the dude's like, "Everything's fine." Like literally, it's not fine, and I don't think it's ever going to be fine. That's why you got to maintain your physical fitness, maintain your weaponry, have your stuff together, and ready to go. Because you never know when it's going to actually pop off. Biden's trying to get us in a war with Russia. He's like trying to put the pins to him, and he's trying to get the rest of the world to join in, with the rest of the world didn't want to join in on bashing Putin. And the problem with that lies is that makes it shows us that if something happens with us and them, that ain't gonna be that many people backing us either, right? I think America's lost a lot of their leverage in the past 2 years. American Advocate, thanks, man. Jesus said, "Sell your cloak and buy a sword." This is a war on Christianity, no doubt it is. Fundamental American values. Where do you think fundamental American values comes from? Christianity. That's where it comes from, right? And so, of course, they're attacking that. They're attacking it hard. I traded my sword for an AR. That's right, me too. So another news too is that Smithfield, who is the largest pork company in the United States, shuts down the California plant due to high cost. I don't know if you filled up your truck lately, but it's about $100 a tank now. So we're going to start seeing that. We're going to start seeing business collapse, even large like Smithfield. Smithfield's huge. Some of the best sausage you can get is Smithfield. So what's going to happen is obviously that's going to dry up that food, add to the food shortages, and it's just going to get worse. Businesses are not going to be able to run. Yeah, they are owned by China. That's correct. Even China can't afford it. I saw this too, and I'd like to touch on this later and more in depth. But a Google engineer warns that the firm's AI is sentient. He got suspended for this. Claims that the computer program acts like a 7 or 8 year old child, and it told him that shutting it off would be exactly like death for him, and it would scare him a lot. And we're talking about that AI. I'm bringing that up because of the algorithm for looking at red flag laws and what Biden is trying to push. And we got AI that's thinking like a 7 or 8 year old child. What are we setting ourselves up for? Yeah, you want Skynet? This is how you get Skynet. Yes, it's going to be Minority Report. Yeah, go arrest this guy, and because of this, I mean, we're trying to figure this out, man. How to create alternative ways of living for the service. Obviously, homeschooling your kids, but the thing is financing this. How do we live? How do we not finance the left? Right, everywhere you look, it's a rainbow right now. Or Ukraine flag. They traded their Ukraine flags for rainbows this month, right? Yeah, I mean they're pulling a Minority Report. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to incriminate you before you committed a crime. And who's to say what gives them the leg to even say that, right? Because of something that they don't agree with, You comment on a YouTube video, all of a sudden you're on the list. Who you vote for, you may be on. You don't know. This is coming down to political discrimination. Corrupted 187. Thanks, man. I appreciate you guys. These laws are scary, guys. They really are, because this is a stepping stone. This is coming full circle to get the AR-15, to get probably the 9mm high capacity magazines, these sort of things. Inch by inch, you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile, and that's how these things are. Like I said, I don't see America getting back to what our normal was pre-pandemic. I don't see that ever happening again. They've learned that they can use their power and authority over us, and it's scary. It's scary because we don't have a lot of support. Well, the last live I showed you, the media, where only 1% of it was right leaning. And the thing is a lot of people always say, well, you're dumb, Jack, because you believe in Republicans. Well, the thing is, knowing that both parties are not really for me, but having to align, if I don't align with anybody, the Democrats are going to take over and just destroy the world. So I have to align with the person I have the most similarities with. And that's the way you got to fight these days. If you don't, you're not going to find anybody that aligns with you 100%. So if you're trying to fight that fight, that's a losing battle, right? You got to find allies where you can, right? And that's how you're going to fight. And that's the only way you have actual chance. I mean, there's so many rhinos in the game, so you know it's hard. It's hard to know, right? Chris Savage, thanks, man. White supremacists don't wear navy blue and khakis and government style boots. They wear black jeans and black boots. Yeah, that's right. A lot of times that's how it is. Mike Lemmy, thanks, buddy. Mike says the book of Revelation is coming true right before our eyes. Thanks for standing up, brother. Yeah, man, I definitely believe that. I think it is too. You know, and the thing is that, like, you know, I mean, look at this month alone. I mean, spitting in God's face. America's spitting in God's face right now, and you know, what has He done? If you read in the Bible, what has He done to places that did exactly what we're doing? Destroyed them, hand them over to themselves, right? So I guess the bottom line is, guys, is that you got to find the people that you can align the most with. The moral of the story: you're not going to find people that you can. I mean, the thing is that like when it came to vote here, and it was Lindsey Graham and I forget the guy that the DNC put up against him. They spent $8 million. I mean, the most amount of money for any one in the Senate that the DNC ever spent. And this guy, do I want to vote for a Democrat or Lindsey Graham? I can't stand Lindsey Graham, but there's no other choice. You got to pick the lesser evil. That's how a lot of these battles have to be fought, right? If there's no one else, what do? You got to pick the lesser evil. Mystic Artist, thanks for the sticker. I appreciate you. Simon Willis, thanks, buddy, for the sticker. So yeah. Keep your physical fitness, eat healthy, quit eating plastic like they're trying to force feed you. The stuff about the mask keeps coming out about China, you know, the cheap Chinese masks that are pumping out over here, and people breathing in that stuff's in their lungs now, right? People are getting nasty sickness from this stuff that they're breathing in from the mask. And so don't eat plastic, don't eat from plastic, glass, eat from glass, all that kind of stuff. Eat metal utensils, don't eat plastic. Killing your estrogen, turn everybody to femboys. Next thing is keep your firearms, load up on ammo, load up on all your stuff. And you never know. You never know when things are going to pop off, guys. You got to be ready. You got to be prepared to protect you and your family. Mick Jerkenstein, Jack, how do you see the whole thing playing out? What do you think it will look like afterwards? I'm concerned, but still optimistic. So I think a lot of people think a lot of things. I think people think that, like, if you were to go, like, say, hypothetically, go take your country back. First off, that'll never happen because it would cause instant decay. The country would obviously collapse immediately because we would have no structure. There would be no structure, no way to even operate. You'd have to start over again, essentially. You're not going to start from where you start now and just appoint new people. It wouldn't work that way. It would cause massive war in the streets, okay? Number two, a foreign adversary will probably come and take over. They'd be their chance. They'd come nail us to the wall, right? So truthfully, I think if it's not fixed within our means, then it won't ever be fixed. And we're going to lead to collapse, in my honest opinion. Throughout history, a lot of superpowers fell, and usually they fell from within. And if you look at Yuri Beznovic, I think his name is, I'm going to do a whole video on him. This has been in play for 20, 30 years, apparently, where they've been making it where we will fall from within. the Soviet Union said that they would kill us without ever firing a round, and they've beaten us. They've beaten us in the ground. We're so divided. We're fighting ourselves, and people hate America. Can you imagine 20 years ago when 9/11, everybody come and thank you for your service, and now people hate America? Trey Paget, thanks, buddy. You're working on small, tight knit circles. Yeah, that's how you got to work on your little nucleus. LAPD SWAT says, FYI, some protein drinks have soy in them. Read labels. Absolutely, read your labels, guys. You have no idea what you're eating. There's so much stuff that if you do not read the labels, that literally a lot of it has soy. A lot of protein does have soy in it, so make sure you steer clear of that stuff. Frank, where are you at? Matthew Frank says, by The Watchmen. I'm the captain of the neighborhood watching. I tell my members to watch it. The Watchmen is the film we made. It's a great film. Definitely something you need to know how to fight from your house, right? And it'll teach you how to do that, teach your family how to do that, and how to build protocols for your family. And it's entertaining, I think. So anyhow, guys, I don't want to keep you too much later. I do appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. And it's grim. Like, things are not looking good, in my opinion. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully everything I said was wrong. Hopefully everything goes back to normal and everything's fine again. I just don't see it. I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe it. I'm not trying to sell you anything. There's nothing being sold in this video. I literally am concerned. I think we're in bad places in America, and literally find more like-minded people. Find them. You don't know when the day is going to come. Find people that you align with and have as many of them as you can, right? Anyhow, guys, I do appreciate you hanging out with me, and yeah, pray daily too. That's right, Tommy, you got to pray. I do appreciate you hanging out with me tonight, and get started with the week. Hopefully you have a good week, and we'll touch back later this week as the news goes on. Stuff's popping every day now, so I guess we'll see. Anyhow, guys, thanks for watching, tuning in. And remember, stay frosty, stay strapped, stay dangerous. Take care.